Welcome to the Kings Beat podcast. I'm James Ham, Kings Insider for ESPN 1320 and the Kings Beat. We are, of course, a Blue Wire podcast. It's been a little while. Joining me today, KCRA 3's Sean Cunningham. Sean, how are you?
I'm good. I'm in an air-conditioned house, and it kind of doesn't feel like it because I left the air conditioning off somehow, and coming back into it's like crept up to like 94 in here. So I've got the backwards hat. Brendan got the memo. James didn't. So we're backwards hat king today.
There we go.
There we go. Well, let's see. There we are. Yep.
That's how you know Sean's uncomfortable. He has a backwards hat on.
No, right. It's funny. I used to wear backwards hat a lot. I don't really do it anymore. The only time I ever do it is like if I'm inside the house, which makes no sense. If you're hanging around a pool or something, and you got like a boat or feet in the water, or I don't know. For whatever reason I do it then, but there's no real rhyme or reason.
I thought you didn't go on boats because you've never come up and hung out with me.
No, you live in another state. That's just tough.
I don't live in another state. I don't live that far away. All right. We are, of course, also joined by Brenden Nunes from the Kings Pulse podcast and other places. Brenden, how are you?
I'm doing well. Sean joined me at one of those other places earlier this week. We found some really fun college football names, not to just derail this whole thing instantly. But Dude Person was up there for sure. And Sean found real quick that he also promotes Dude Wipes on his Instagram. Dude approved.
And
go ahead. What am I missing?
Where will Dude Person be playing on Saturday?
Is he going to be playing in Sacramento, Sean?
In Sacramento. He's a member of Central Arkansas. So Dude Person.
Mobility was a great name. First name Mo, last name Bility. Darelis Clark. General Booty is, of course, the classic that I feel like everybody knows. But
we found that he was indeed related to John David Booty, right?
Oh, yes, I believe so. Yeah,
Mr. Booty.
Huh.
Sean also taught me who John Candy is. It was a productive 2 hours.
You didn't know who John Candy? Oh, God.
I don't think I didn't know by name,
Brenden.
I got to tell him the whole 49ers Joe Montana drive where they look up in the stands and he goes,
"Oh yeah,
hey, isn't that John Candy?" And I was like, "Haven't you seen Draft Day?" He talks about that moment in Draft Day. Found out Brendan hadn't seen Draft Day, which is fine because that movie kind of sucks. Although there are people that really stand by that movie for some reason.
I've seen that in like bits and pieces enough that I feel like I got the whole thing.
Your whole life is bits and pieces. I don't think you're present for a good portion of your life.
Well, present for Kings.
Have you seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles? Have you seen Uncle Buck? Have you seen Home Alone?
I've seen Home Alone.
That was the
one.
Trains,
and Home Alone sounds very chitty chitty bang bang to me.
No, it's fantastic. It's very much not chitty chitty bang bang.
Okay,
it's fantastic. Okay. One of the best best holiday movies I think there is. From if you took like a kids holiday element out, so like not Elf, because that's a little kids movie basically, right?
I love Elf,
right?
But
I mean, I know
Elf
we all
isn't a little kids movie.
We can all enjoy Elf, but it's not intended. It's intended for kids. Is what I mean, right?
I still hop across
family movies, right?
Family movies, yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So if you took like the family element away.
Sure. Like I just know I'm not going to be watching Die Hard with James this Christmas.
Have you ever seen Spaceballs?
No.
Why does that come up? That's not even a holiday movie. Oh, because
John Candy.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
He's Barf. He's a Mog. He's half man, half dog. He's his own best friend.
Barf's an unfortunate name.
Barf. What is happening here? I did get a text. One of my sons clearly is in the other room and says, "Does this Brenden guy live under a rock?"
Yeah. James had good parenting. He
a little bit
brought his kids up knowing the facts of life.
Well, yeah, James actually met my dad, and I think my dad's just as disappointed in me with a lot of this stuff. My dad was super into movies. Like, we had all the CDs going, and I've probably seen a lot of them and just no recollection. I don't know.
Wait, did you say you had a lot of CDs going? Is that what you said? Not DVDs?
Yeah, you're right. It's DVDs. Yeah.
There's
Happy
new
New Year.
levels to this.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What do you guys got for podcast candles?
Buddy, I didn't light mine because it's scorching in here. It's actually finally starting to cool down. So
It's too hot.
I am not lighting a candle. I will be candleless tonight.
Too hot.
I'll light a candle for both of us.
Thanks,
Quote
buddy.
from
podcast
Spaceballs,
candle.
the movie, the podcast candle. All right, welcome into the Kings Beat podcast. We can't do a live show. We have some other things going on. We also haven't done a show in like a week and a half because I had a little vacation. Sean had a little vacation before that. No, it wasn't just my fault.
Boy, I did. Well, first of all, I was available in the early portion of the week. I didn't hear from anybody. And then once we got to about Thursday, everyone's like, hey, anyone got time for a podcast? I said, go F yourself. I'm heading down to LA for Oasis, which was what he said. Outstanding. Oasis, Brenden, is Liam and Noel Gallagher. They famously are brothers that hate each other. We did this on the air. You had heard of Wonderwall and you thought every song that your guy was playing ended up being Wonderwall, and it was not. Yeah.
Incorrect.
And Oasis was good?
I'm not as educated. Shocker.
Fantastic. How about this? How about the star-studded cast aside from moi? How about Sir Paul McCartney was there? Billie Eilish was there. Salma Hayek. I don't know. James Hetfield from Metallica. And then Leonardo DiCaprio.
Know a single person that you just mentioned.
I know Salma Hayek.
He doesn't even know
Billie
Leonardo
Eilish
DiCaprio.
and Phineas.
I do know Billie Eilish. I know a lot of the. I'm keeping up.
Paul McCartney was a Beatle, Brendan. That's a pretty.
I know Paul McCartney.
Deal, huh?
I know. Paul
yeah.
McCartney.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, there you go.
Sweet. Okay. Welcome in. Sorry, it's been a little bit. We just escaped the dog days of summer. We're about to crank
also
it
wasn't shit to talk about. Can we be honest?
There's
not really anything going on. What did we miss?
You're right.
What did we miss?
They miss hanging out with us. That's what they miss. They miss hanging out with us.
He won a title in Europe.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that ain't nothing, but that also happened just the other day. So it's not like we're like weeks from that happening. What do we miss?
We could have talked about his every single game, Sean.
The City Edition
Brenden was writing on
came out today. We're recording this on 9/16 day. We didn't miss a thing.
We didn't miss a thing. We're on day 72 or 73 of Kuminga watch. Yeah.
Keep watching.
Nothing has happened at all. Okay, well let's dive into let's take the Dennis Schroder stuff first. There's been this weird conversation about the Dennis Schroder thing. Like, look, the Kings have had plenty of guys who do really well in Europe and in international play. And like, it's a good thing because he's playing basketball. He's playing competitive basketball, winning a whatever EuroLeague champion. What is this that they played? Is it Euro Cup?
The EuroBasket.
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 Okay.
He's now won a World Cup gold medal and a EuroBasket championship.
So he's put himself in line to potentially be a Hall of Famer on the international ticket. Does this change your guys' mind on Dennis Schroder at all for this season?
No, he's still Dennis Schroder. I mean, he's still this guy's. It's not. What am I missing? Like, he's still a very good player. He's a serviceable, like, starting caliber point guard for a lot of teams.
Yep.
Maybe best suited still coming off the bench for really good teams. But what am I missing? Like, is there no one should have mystery surrounding him. He's Dennis Schroder. We've seen him in hundreds of teams. It seems like he's played for several seasons. I mean, it's not like he's new to this. It's not like he's somebody who's coming up from overseas, signing with Europe, coming from Peja, like that. That's not,
or Sasha,
not Hito or Sasha Vizenko. Like, that's not the case. It's not someone who hasn't played in the league for several years and getting hot again. It's not like Bogdan Bogdanovic. Like, no, we've seen Dennis Schroder in the NBA. I don't think I understand. Like, he plays a very specific role for that team that would be vastly different in Sacramento. So what he is to Germany is different to Sacramento. And the game is vastly different.
I think that's the main thing, right? Is for Kings fans that maybe we're not paying super close attention to Dennis Schroder, seeing what FIBA Schroder looks like and German team Schroder is probably just a little eye-opening for them, where they're like, well, there's kind of a lot here, where he is maybe not the best player on that team. I'd still probably go Franz Wagner, but Dennis is definitely the leader of that team. Like, obviously Franz being a little bit younger, Dennis has been there for years. You watch those games and he's orchestrating the offense out there. In the semifinals and the finals, he had 12 assists in each game, and there's not the most greatest efficiency when he's out there, which is a typical Dennis Schroder thing. It's also not horrible. I mean, it's good enough that they obviously were able to beat Finland and then Turkey. And some people kind of scoff at, like, oh, I saw people being like, oh, it's just Turkey. I mean, they took down Giannis in the round prior, and I'm pretty sure that Finland took down Jokic in the first round. It's like, there is very good talent here. Schroeder is named to the All-5 team of this tournament. And that's like Giannis, Şengün, Jokic, Franz Wagner, and him. It's 4 other guys that are all-stars. I don't know if Franz already made it last year. I don't believe so. But he's on that trajectory, So I think for Kings fans, seeing, hey, he can kind of run the show a little bit here is probably perking ears up a little bit. But to Sean's point, I think this role is going to look different in Sacramento. But I also think he'll have the ball in his hands a little bit more. The idea is, hey, we needed a point guard this offseason. Scott Perry, Domantas Sabonis, everybody on the Kings. And so Dennis very clearly has that role. And I think the idea is it will look better than it did for, look good in Detroit, but say like Golden State, for example, where his role was a little junky, more off ball. I think having a little bit more of a, I guess, question to you guys, how much will he get the ball in this offense? You're functioning as the primary point guard, but obviously you still got to feed Zach, Domas, DeMar. Like, is this a scenario where you can run it through Dennis a little bit more and try to get some of whatever FIBA Dennis is?
I don't know. I mean, I think primarily Dennis Schroder. I mean, first of all, he turned 32 yesterday. Like, he is what he is. Right. I think we all know that. And the fact that he's done this well in European play, that's amazing. And good for Schroeder for leading Germany to a championship. That doesn't change who he is for the Sacramento Kings. I do think that there's like positive momentum for him, especially with camp like 2 weeks away, where, he is coming off of a stretch where he played a lot of basketball. He's going to get a little bit of a break, and then I think he'll be ready to hit the ground running. I think the best thing about the entire experience is that he didn't get hurt, and then he's 100% healthy coming into the season. So I don't think it really changes anything in my mind. I don't think they're going to run the ball through him like they did, say, De'Aaron Fox last year. I think he's going to be a primary ball handler, bring the ball up, initiate the offense. Maybe there will be time where he play makes for others, but overall, I would be surprised if he, wasn't like 14 points a game with, maybe 6.5 assists or 6 assists on the season. That's kind of where I would put him as a player, and that's not bad. It's just, he's a top 20 something point guard in the NBA, not a top 15 or a top 10. And as long as we're walking into the season knowing that whatever happened in EuroBasket doesn't really impact who he is in the NBA, I think that's fine.
I think also, like, I mean, I didn't see any of this chatter. I mean, I think it's probably just shows you that you're in early to mid-September, and people are just maybe getting that itch that training camp is right around the corner, and they just want to get excited about something Kings related. And certainly, having a new player go out there and win, EuroBasket and take home MVP honors and all that. Like, sure, if that helps you get excited for what's around the corner with the Kings, use that to your advantage, I guess. But yeah, I didn't see a lot of that chatter. I'm a little surprised that that came up, but he did play really well. I mean, I don't know how much you guys watched. I didn't see maybe the first couple rounds. I'm kind of regretting that. I think I was a little bit like everybody else, really kind of locked in on Luka, kind of locked in a little bit on Jokic to see how he was playing in terms of like health and how he was moving. And typically when he's done this in the past, he tends to put on some weight. So yeah, I was, and then, but obviously with Germany, with how well they played, you couldn't help but watch them. And I might even push back a little bit. I do think Dennis Schroder was the best player for his team with respect to Wagner. I mean, he was the do everything guy. He meant everything to them. They found scoring where they needed it, and he could be that. He was capable of not only being a distributor, but being in a primary scoring option, leadership, played impeccable defense. I thought he was fantastic. So he looked good. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they
James,
won.
Yeah, they won the whole thing, and I guess to your point, Sean, they gave it to the best player on the team, and that was Dennis. So, but James, something you mentioned is you think that this probably gives them good momentum going into the season. It's good to play these sort of games. That's more so your thought, rather than I feel like there's also the other side of, hey, are you a little bit more tired coming into the season?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's been so long now. What year did Bogey come over? 2017, I want to say. When Bogdanovic came over, he had just come through a spurt of games like this where, he's playing for the Serbian national team. And to be honest with you, he had played something like 59 games over like 6 months coming into the season. That's not a good thing. To me, that was ridiculous. And then, of course, he ends up getting hurt in his first year, like having a little bit of a knee issue and stuff. I think that there is a way in which this can be a good thing and a way in which this can be a bad thing. This was just like a short tournament. It's not that many games. And to be honest with you, there are other guys out there that are playing, tons of games and like pick up in Sacramento or pick up at like the Rico runs at UCLA. Like there are a lot of different places that you can play hoop. I think there was a point this summer where Devin Carter was playing in like the Miami Pro-Am. Like, so there are lots of ways in which you can put a lot of mileage on your body during the summer. I think this is more of a tune-up, and you're going to see Dennis Schroder come in like great shape, and not only great shape, but with confidence and some leadership skills that he's been honing as an international player, and walking in the door to a team that probably needs somebody who's going to be vocal and call people out and be direct and sort of set the tempo early in training camp. So I think all of that's a good thing. Yeah, I do think, Brennan, you're right to point it out that there are ways in which some players play way too much during the summer and they come in, they're just beat up. And you're like, hey, man, it sure would be nice if you were ready to play on day one. But I think Schroder will be. Sean, you remember the Bogdanovic situation,
I do.
right?
Yeah,
and
it
he
seems
just played so many games.
Yeah, and he didn't, if you remember, he didn't play the NBA before that. So he had just gone through a whole European schedule, the 2-season thing, and then goes right into EuroBasket and all that stuff.
And I think they had playoffs. He ran deep in the playoffs, and
yes.
I think was the MVP of that season coming into his year, his rookie season.
Well, and they had the 2-season thing, right? Where it was like that first part of the year. So it all kind of stacked up on one another. And so he really didn't have any time away really to rehab, to rest, to any of that, to escape. It was all pretty much stacked up on top of each other. And that was I can't remember. It was a year and a half before the Olympics, I believe. And he definitely wanted to be right for that. So, at any rate, he was banged up. He ended up putting a lot of mileage on him. I don't see that with Dennis. I mean, Dennis also is a guy who's just nonstop movement. He's just running all the way. So his endurance and conditioning for the season ahead doesn't really bother me too much.
Yeah, and look, let's be honest. He's, as of right now, he's set to split time in the backcourt with Malik Monk at the backup as a backup point guard. And a really crowded backcourt that getting minutes. I mean, Dennis Schroeder's not going to struggle to get minutes. He is going to struggle to play like 30-something minutes because that's just kind of the way this team is designed as of today. That could change. We could still see a change between now and, the start of camp or now and the start of the season. But I'm not expecting some dramatic thing at this point. And that's because we'll get to the next topic. The Jonathan Kuminga situation, we're at like day 73 or something of Kuminga watch. It just seems like it's coming. It's heading more and more towards a marriage of some sort with the Golden State Warriors for Kuminga, and
marriage of convenience.
I think it's a marriage of inconvenience, to be honest with you.
That's probably better.
Yeah, because I don't think it's convenient for either side. If you're reading the latest whether it's from Slater and Shams or it's from Sam Amick, our good friend Sam. It does look like, that they're going to try to figure something out in Golden State, even if that's him playing on the $7.9 million qualifying offer. And that would I think that would feel awkward and uncomfortable if that's what he was playing on. But at the same time, I think this is something that might bleed into the next collective bargaining agreement about how restricted free agents are being handled, especially this season, and how that might, impact future restricted free agency, because it's one thing to like the spirit of the law is to try to retain your players, but the way that Golden State has handled this, where they're literally just way too honest and upfront with everybody that they don't really want him as a player, they want him as a trade chip. That it kind of feels dirty to me for him. Like I don't think it's really been the most fair thing for Schroder for Kuminga to go through. And like again, each of these restricted free agencies are different. Whether it's Cam Thomas in Brooklyn or Josh Giddey, who got paid with the Bulls, or who's the other guy with 76ers?
Quentin Grimes.
Yeah, Quentin Grimes. Like all of them are in different situations, but very specifically the one with Kuminga, it just feels really awkward and kind of gross that a team would just be so blatant that like, hey, we want to sign you to this contract and we want you to opt out of your rights as a restricted free agent and opt out of your bird rights if we choose to trade you. We want a team option, and if we trade you, we want the no trade clause gone and everything else. It feels funky. But I think that he is going to end up there either way. Would you guys kind of on the same page here?
Yeah, I would. Go ahead, Sean.
Well, no, it's funny because I keep thinking like, what does this look like in 3-4 years? And to your point, James, yeah, they might do something. I honestly think it's just a byproduct of the early part of the way salary caps are and these teams adjusting their rosters to fit life of this collective, this CBA, where you have all these aprons and luxury tax restrictions. And so you really have to be a lot more discriminating to who you give your money to. And when you have these big contracts out there and you're already in luxury tax and you get to the hard caps of dealing with all the restrictions that the collective bargaining agreement has and all these aprons and ramifications that come with it, like they're much like the Kings. They're trying to get to 27 when everything tends to reset. They're able to get Steph Curry probably on a different deal than he's currently on. And yeah, the guys like Jeremy Grant who make $30 million a year, and
35, 37,
35, right? A little bit bloated now, tend to get scaled back a little bit more. So they have to be a little bit more discerning in terms of who they give their money to and how they manage their books. And I don't feel sorry for Jonathan Kuminga. I think he's got a bright future. He's going to make millions of dollars. It's an inconvenience for certainly this season. I think they're looking at, I mean, if you listen to this podcast, we've all said the same thing. I mean, I think it's heading towards collective bargaining agreement, pick that up, or excuse me, to the qualifying offer, take that offer, go into unrestricted free agency next summer and choose your destiny. Trouble is at that point, Warriors don't really get anything for him. And that's what they don't want. They want to be able to recoup something for losing a talent like Kuminga.
Yeah. And on Kuminga's side, there's no reason he should give a damn about that.
Nope, not at all.
And, qualifying offer benefit is obviously, as you mentioned, he gets that no trade clause, and that's where he really gets control of his entire situation. But he's playing for $7.9 million next year, while the Warriors offer went from, according to Slater, it was at the 245 mark, that now it's 375. And both of those deals, the final year is a team option. So 375 with the final year of a team option, according to Slater, just adding another year, but still with the understanding of like, hey, we're signing you as a trade chip. And eventually we want to move you to somewhere else. And maybe Kuminga can finagle that situation a little bit of talking through his agent and through media a little bit of, hey, I'd prefer to go here or there. But for the most part, the Warriors got to do whatever they want with your contract at that point, which puts him in a little bit of a tough situation. So why I still think that qualifying offer probably makes sense for Kuminga. But more than anything, I feel pretty confident saying he's probably going to be on the Warriors going into next season, unless Kings or Phoenix get crazy with some other offers here. Like, I think offering an unprotected future first, probably not a great idea in this situation.
That'd be insanity. Insanity.
Because like we're talking about, the reality of unrestricted free agency is very possible here. And Kings don't exactly have money right now, but figure out ways to get that done until he reaches that point, if Kuminga is somebody that you're set on to that extent. But I think a lot of this is just product of, it was a weird draft pick initially. They're trying to do this 2 timelines thing, but you picked a rookie that is very, very much a product, which I think was fairly known at the time, and you weren't exactly in a position to be able to let him spread his wings.
Yeah, and like, if you're reading some of these articles and you're getting confused, I think that, like, first of all, it's a confusing situation, right? And it's complicated. We've said that from the beginning, right? So I just want to make sure people understand. If he accepts a qualifying offer, he has a full no trade clause as part of the qualifying offer. And that's because if the Warriors trade him mid-season, and they can come to him and say, hey, would you like to go to, the Washington Wizards or the New York Knicks? And at that point, he can make a decision on whether he wants to go to that team or not, right? And whether he wants to drop his no trade clause. The second he is traded in that scenario, his Larry Bird rights go away. So as of right now, even if he accepts a qualifying offer and he plays out this entire season with the Warriors and he gets to the end of the year, they still have his Larry Bird rights, which means that they can sign him without regards to the salary cap. They can circumvent the cap, go over the top of the cap, and they can sign him to whatever deal they want within the parameters of his years of service, right? If they can sign and trade him. So here's the problem that you have if you're Kuminga, and why you would say no to a no trade clause. I mean, no to a trade at midseason. If he's playing with the Warriors and they say, hey, we got this deal worked out with Sacramento and they want to take you on right now, the second he gets traded, his bird rights are gone, which means that when he goes to negotiate a contract with the Kings this summer, next summer, they can't do anything. All they can offer him, because they're over the cap, all they can offer him is a mid-level exception at like 14.8 or 14.9 or 15 million bucks. That's a starting salary that they can start with. So that's one path. The second path is if he signs a 2-year deal with a 3rd-year option, now his full Larry Bird rights are intact and he can be traded without any problems. The problem that they have is that the Warriors keep saying they want this 1-and-1, this 1-year guaranteed deal, and the second is a team option. In that scenario, again, his Larry Bird rights go away if he's traded, because it has to be a guaranteed 2-year deal off of his restricted free agency. So I know that's all complicated and weird, but if the Kings are going to land Jonathan Kuminga, it's either now or never, because I don't see a way in which, unless maybe they get to next offseason and the Warriors are saying, hey, do you want back in on the Kuminga situation? We'll do a sign-in trade. And at that point, the Kings are going to be like, well, that's fine. We'll give you a 2nd-round pick. Like, we're not going to give you anything of value at that point, because he could go sign with 10 other teams. Yeah. So
I disagree with that point, because I do think I do think there's a pathway for him to end up with the Kings. The only problem is there's going to be more teams that are able to sign Kuminga, and like you mentioned, they have to make room to do so. I don't think it would be super difficult to make the room, especially given that the draft capital they do have. So
as an unrestricted free agent, eventually.
Correct. Yeah. So I do think that there's ways to do that, but to your point, James, yeah, I mean, this thing is, I think, all headed in one direction, unless there's just a huge Joe Lacob interference where, no, we as the Warriors, we love Kuminga, here we go, big money to him, and we figure the rest out. And go ahead.
Amick said today that, quote, the Sacramento Kings and Phoenix Suns remain the two suitors in play for Kuminga, though league and team sources say a deal with either team is highly unlikely unless something significant changes regarding their respective offers. Team sources say the Kings are under the impression Kuminga does in fact want to play for them. Goes on to say the Kings offer was Malik in a protected first.
And just independently, nothing has changed, at least to my knowledge. Hearing from various amount of sides within this thing since dating back to July. Really nothing has changed in this staring contest. Offers being made, the understanding of the likelihood that he goes back on a qualifying option, the Kings not wanting to relinquish a first round pick without protections. So I think this whole thing, everyone knows where everybody stands, and it was literally a get to September, which we said literally back in July, get to September and things could change. What happens in the coming days and weeks? I mean, we've got 2 weeks from Monday, a week from Monday is really the start of training camp with media day, but really the entire Kings roster and Warriors roster as it stands, which is only 9 or 10 players for Golden State right now. Everybody's going to be coming into their cities. Most of the Kings players are here now. So camp right around the corner. We'll see. We're going to see what happens very, very quickly. And I think it's going to be very anticlimactic, and it's going to be Kuminga back with the Warriors on the 1 year.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to wait and see how exactly they get it done. It does feel like they're negotiating, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's a multi-year deal at the end of the day. I know he wants to go play somewhere else, and his point is it doesn't matter. Steve Kerr doesn't want to play him. Steve Kerr was very clear at the end of the year that he has no problems with Jonathan Kuminga. It's just he doesn't think he fits in a lineup with Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry. And if those guys are all playing 30 plus minutes a night, how do you play him? And that's where his point is. It's hey, you can say that you don't mind me or that you're fine with me, but don't act like you're going to play me and that I'm going to have a role that's going to allow him to go out and make more money in the future. And I think that's the biggest issue that we have here.
I'm waving a magic wand and I'm making James and Brenden Mike Dunleavy / Joe Lacob. What do you do? Let me ask you this. What would you take trades off the table for now, since you already know essentially what the Kings would be willing to do? And I think we're all in agreement taking protections off of first round pick to do this would be insanity. But you're the Warriors, and obviously you'd rather get something for him. But taking that off the table, what would you rather do in terms of what scenario? Do you do it long term? Would you rather do a team option in the second year to try to trade him? Obviously, I think that's the one you'd most likely. But I think that's also the least likely scenario, right? I just don't think that's of. I just don't think that Kuminga's side is going to put the handlebars on himself to where he could ultimately put power in the Warriors' hands to stay there beyond the one season. Now, if they go super money and give him 3 years, like you said, James, and he has a player option maybe for that third year, but of those scenarios, and you're the Warriors, what would you rather do? Because to me, I think you just have to resign yourself to the fact that you're not getting anything that you ultimately would want for Kuminga.
If you know he's going to sign the qualifying offer, and I'm the Warriors here, then I'm probably going sign and trade route. If you know that that's what he's going to do, then you're not going to get anything anyways, right? So if you, I don't know if that could be the case, but if you have a slight heads up of, hey, he plans on doing that, then hey, I'm going to move him. But I'm trying to keep him around if I'm the Warriors, because I still think there's something here. I know the relationship is screwed, but there is some sort of value, and that you mentioned, they don't have many players. And Kuminga's he has his flaws, but he's going to play 20 minutes a night, at least, right, on this team, and have stretches where he does matter and is valuable to him. So, I mean, I probably would be willing to get up to the 400 if I'm the Warriors, the 4 years, 100.
That's what's crazy about the trade, though. It's if you're the Warriors, you don't need Malik Monk making $20 million a year.
Well, no, and they don't want that third year as a player option, the third year, because they're looking at 2027. Not in the same way the Kings are, but in a different way, because that's a year that Giannis and Jokic and others will be free agents. And so they're looking at that year as a year they might be able to add a couple of superstars to either go alongside Steph if he's still playing. Or, that's a year where I think Jimmy Butler's contract dissolves. And so you're going to have some opportunity there to go do something different. Like, look, if I'm the Warriors right now, I go to the Kings and to the Suns and say, I mean, I'm not even going to talk to the Suns, to be honest with you. The Suns have nothing to offer, but I'm going to go to the Kings and I'm going to say, hey, give us a realistic offer here that you think is fair. And like, we understand you're playing hardball, and then you're going to have to go back to Kuminga's people, because all of a sudden the Warriors are talking a 3-year, $75 million deal. The Kings were on board when it was 363. They might not be on board when it's 375. So I would go to the Kings and I would say, look, this is the last, we're going to have one last discussion here. We don't want Malik Monk. We don't want the Saric, Devin Carter package, because that creates all kinds of issues for you on the other side too.
They have no
If
money.
you can go,
the money doesn't even match up in that scenario.
well, they can
In a
say
sign and
to the
trade.
Kings, if you can go trade Monk to another team, we'll do a 3-team trade. You go find a player that's on a 1 or 2 year deal that we can swap out for Monk in the deal, that's making roughly 15 million bucks a year. Let's say Terrence Mann, not Trey Mann, Terrence Mann, who's on Brooklyn. Like, Brooklyn, will you take Malik Monk for Terrence Mann straight up and maybe a 2nd round pick, and then go back to the Warriors and say, look, we'll give you a 2030 top 10 protected, and if not, you can have the 2031 Timberwolves unprotected pick. That's where I would go, like, if I'm the Warriors. And I don't think the Kings would. I don't know if they can do it. I don't know if they would budge on the money. I don't know if they would budge on again, moving Monk to Brooklyn. But that's where I would, if I'm the Warriors. And then after that, I'm like, go ahead and play for the 7.9 million, because if we're gonna fight this battle the whole time, there's a small glimmer of hope that the Warriors will be able to go and use him as a sign and trade piece during next summer. And in the meantime, if he's only making 7.9 million and they bring in all these other guys that are just waiting around, right, you would still be under the first apron. And so you're not going to pay some huge luxury tax bill. And that way, at least you can, move along with your program and say, okay, fine. We might lose him for nothing. He might not be that good of a player for us this year. He might be a stud. And if he's a stud, we'd still have the same opportunity next summer to go, hey, how about a contract extension now? That's where I'd be if I were the Warriors. So
what would you do, Sean?
I think, yeah.
I wouldn't be as depressed over losing him ultimately and not getting something for him, because the way the Warriors, they're kind of big game hunting in my mind. And I just feel like at the end of the day, they will have still positioned themselves to be able to move beyond the saga of Jonathan Kuminga. Obviously, they're not all sold and bought in on the fact that they think he's a shoe-in talent for the future. I just feel that it's a easier pill to swallow in a less risk type of situation to let him walk and not necessarily bring back anything of value, because I feel like him not taking up the room on the books will benefit them more in the long term of 26, 27, 28.
Yeah, here's one more sort of added wrinkle I would put in. Like, first of all, they don't want Monk's contract because he's basically what Kuminga is asking for, right? He's a 3-year deal, a 2-year deal with a 3rd-year team player option, right? I just don't think that, like, if you're worried about 2027 that bad, those contracts will be expiring contracts the year before. Like, Malik Monk's still going to be a basketball player that people would want on their team. And even if it's at 21 million bucks, I mean, I still look at what the Warriors are asking for, and they literally, they want their cake and they want to eat it too. And that's what I don't get. Like, at what point is this a true negotiation? Because as of right now, it doesn't feel like it is. It just feels like the Warriors, again, they just want a trade chip. They just want a coupon. They don't even care about the dude or what it means for his career long term or anything else. And I mean, if I'm a young player, I'm looking at that franchise and going, okay, that's not a comfortable situation. And I don't, playing with Steph is one thing, but playing for a dude who just wants to use his players as like a coupon or like a coin that they can trade down the road, a basketball card, not even a basketball player. I don't know how much I'd want to play for Dunleavy or the Lake Ups at that point, because it's like this whole thing has been pretty shady.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. The only thing I would add on the other side, though, is that I think this is where, like, everybody, says, like, it's a business, I guess. I feel like that can get chalked up to that at least a bit. Not that just removes everything, but also if Kuminga was better, Kerr would be playing him. I think that is obviously part of the reality here. And, Warriors didn't do him favors in getting up to this point and his development and everything. But I think it goes both ways.
It would also be interesting to see if you get a camp, and this could be a holy cow scenario, but if there's a situation where you end up giving him the farm, so to speak, giving him ultimately what he wants, a bigger contract, and you're on the buy-in of Jonathan Kuminga, maybe you're moving on from Steve Kerr. I'm not saying like right now going into the season, but either later on this year if things don't manifest to where ultimately you have the success you're looking for. Granted, they were a very hot team down the stretch last year. Jonathan Kuminga was sometimes a part of that, I guess. But I think that's what they're betting on. And if you're looking at it as a Kuminga or Kerr situation, to me, the part that's on the outside of that is really it's a Curry situation. And I don't think you mess it up. I think you're
going to choose Curry. You're going to choose Curry.
You're going to choose Curry. You're going to choose Curry. Correct. So
yeah. I mean that's tough. I get it. Like why you would choose.
And with respect, it's. I mean, we're talking about Jonathan Kuminga. I mean, it's not
crazy?
Giannis right now. It's somebody who could blossom into an all-star for sure. I mean, he's a very skilled player, very dynamic scorer, but
the main sell said he's 22 and
absolutely
freak athlete.
Yeah.
And the downside though, he doesn't shoot the three. He's not a good rebounder. He's not a top tier defender. Solid on ball, but off ball, there's all kinds of problems. Like,
would it also be looked at as
22-year-old?
Would it also be looked as a negative that he's at this point in his career, which I ultimately can't blame him for this part, but he is really wanting to choose a spot that certainly plays the best for his own growth, his own play now type of mentality after really being a part of the Warriors' future for 5 years or 4 years, however long it's been. Like he wants to be able to blossom now and go to a situation where he's able to impact right away, and not just impact 20 minutes here, 25 minutes here, as a perennial starter playing over 30 minutes a game and being a dude.
And somehow the Kings fit that bill somehow.
Right? Yeah, but he would love, because the reason why you want that is because you want the real money. And, again, he's 22 going on 23, right? Like we're talking about he'll be a 25-year-old going into his third contract, which is crazy. Because then you're talking about a 5-year deal worth astronomical amounts if he actually does develop like he thinks he will. Right? So, yeah.
If he becomes an unrestricted free agent next year, where does he rank in who's available in your mind? I mean, realistically, Paolo Banchero is not going anywhere. He'll
Paolo already signed his extension.
He's already got his. So I was looking at something from the fourth.
Paolo, Chet, again, restricted free agents next summer. Keegan, that's a whole. I mean, I think that's what we'll discuss next. Where are we at with this? Like we're again almost to training camp, and Keegan Murray has not signed a rookie scale extension yet. We've talked about this in the past where Jabari Smith Jr. got, I think it's a 5-year, $122 million deal. Paolo got a max money deal. Chet got a little bit less than max money, but close. Jaden Ivey hasn't signed yet. From what I know, he hasn't signed an extension. Neither has Benedict Mathurin. Neither has Dyson Daniels. These are all the players drafted behind Keegan. And I think a lot of people, just, from my conversations around the league, they're kind of waiting to see what happens with Keegan Murray, because you mentioned this earlier, Sean. Teams around the league are reconsidering their rubber stamp, like, max money extension for rookie scale contracts. They're reconsidering who gets what money, because we've seen, like, one of the craziest off seasons ever where the money dried up too quick and there's nowhere for anyone to go, right? There's no market for restricted free agency. There's no market for anybody realistically. So now there's going to be sort of a reset on, like, look, you brought up Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant's not a $37 million player. He actually, at this point, he's probably more like an $18 million player, but you're paying that much. So we have this weird discussion where we're going to talk about, like, value that you're bringing, like future value. And, I think it's something that the league as a whole, they're looking at this weird thing. And I think we're going to hear this thing called surplus value, which is a term that, again, the Kings don't have a lot of surplus value on their roster, except for Keon Ellis, where you're paying a guy $2.3 million, and realistically, he's probably worth, like, depending on what algorithm or what your advanced metrics say, he's probably worth between 11 and 14 million bucks. So all of a sudden you're getting a bunch of value there. But you look around the rest of the Sacramento Kings roster, I don't see any of this surplus value in the players that they have. Even Malik Monk, at, like, best case scenario, he's exactly where his dollar amount should be for his style of play. Maybe he's a little bit too high. Domantas Sabonis, I think we can say the same thing. Zach LaVine, we're probably talking about a negative surplus value of like 18 million bucks. So, like, how do you find this sort of idea? And what you can't do if you're the Kings is just keep spending on players that you don't know what they are yet, like Keegan Murray. And I do expect the Kings to extend Keegan, if they haven't already, multiple offers, and sort of work through this process. But I still think that there's, Keegan Murray at $18 million a year versus Keegan Murray at $30 million a year. One of those you're going to have surplus value. The other one, you're not going to have any value at all built up.
Yeah, I mean, I keep going back to that Jabari Smith Jr. number that you mentioned, that 5/122. You pull up their game by game numbers last year; they're practically identical between the two. So I think from Keegan's side, you'd kind of scoff at anything under that number. Like that's sort of where we're starting, I would imagine, on his side here. And it's a weird pitch because last year's situation was so unique. Sure, Keegan got better as a rebounder, as a defender. That's not exactly what's going to get you paid out here. You also got less touches offensively. And I think that he could make a little bit of an argument on his side of, hey, well, you guys went away from me even more last year. Like, there's more here. You just haven't fully optimized it. And maybe he thinks he can show that more this coming season, and then convince them to a larger deal in the future. But there's also the aspect, of course, of this isn't Scott Perry's pick. It was Monty McNair's. And now we don't know what Scott's evaluation and how necessarily he may feel about Keegan. So I think there's a natural feeling out process to both here as Keegan's in a complicated, I think it's just tough timing overall with everything that happened last season for the ongoing negotiations for him to be happening right now.
Sean?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have much to add there. I mean, I think I've kind of been on record for a while now. I think it's going to take care of itself. I don't think it's going to be an ugly negotiation. I think, I think they'll get it done. I don't know what the number would be. I think, I think you're spot on with it, with the needing to be very prudent in terms of what you want to give a player and his potential for the future, not knowing exactly what he is, but what do you know that he is presently, which is a top tier defender, one of the best defenders on your team. He adds something that you don't have a lot of, which is length, the ability to stretch the floor, and ceiling. I don't think he's an all-star type player. Can he get there? I probably wouldn't bet on it. I just don't think he'd be a top 2 player on any team going forward. So do you have to pay him that type of money for a player who's ultimately maybe a second best player on a team? But I think ultimately, if you sign him to some deal, and to your point about the surplus, I don't think that there's anything egregious about $27-28 million a year if that's what he's making going forward. I think also getting creative with maybe some of the per year numbers, whether it's a de-escalating contract or maybe it's a front loaded contract. I think those things can also tend to, you can fudge the numbers a little bit however you want, but I think that could help out a little bit, much like incentivize some things. But I just don't think it's going to be all that much of a balk, if you will. If it doesn't turn out, or it just, you have to hit a reset button, you're not going to balk at having, I don't think many teams would balk at trying to bring a player like him in, because like it or not, he is what's currently valued in this league, which is a stretch 4, possibly a 3 who can defend.
I agree with all of that. I just, the 27-28, I just don't know, like, for a player who averaged 12 points a game and shot 36% from 3. I don't think any of the metrics for him outside of the defensive metrics are just like a knockdown. Hey, this is an easy sign. Let's go sign this guy. And I think you also have to look at, what's going to happen in 2027. Like, any money that they spend on Keegan Murray this summer is money that they won't have in 2027. And it's one of the reasons why they're cautious when it comes to the Jonathan Kuminga situation as well. I mean, I've had plenty of conversations. Like, Scott Perry, I know, really, really likes Keegan Murray, thinks he's a part of the future. He thinks he's part of the team and what they're building. He's not the only one. There are a lot of people around the team. And, like, look, I think that there is this, I don't think anyone's super happy with how last season went. Keegan Murray specifically, not super happy that his coach got fired. And on top of his coach getting fired, his best friend on the team in De'Aaron Fox got traded. I don't think Keegan's super happy with the way things have worked out here. But at the same time, you have to understand that, a $100 million deal is a $100 million deal. And, Dennis Schroder would be the first one to tell you, hey, man, they put the $100 million on the table. You better take that. You sign that deal as quickly as possible. And that might not be the easiest thing, but they're also, I even read in one of the articles on Kuminga that he's bought insurance, future insurance, right? So there's 2 different types of insurance you can get. There's for lost wages if you get injured and you can't play anymore. But that's, like, again, more likely a car accident or something. Like, if you get hit by a car, you accidentally cut your hand off using a saw, like something silly. So there's insurance that way, but then there's also insurance where you can basically bet against your future money. So you can put a bunch of money down on an insurance premium. And if a team is offering you $100 million, but then all of a sudden, the next year, all you get is an offer of, $90 million, not $100 million that they were offering the year before, you can insure that other amount. And, it's going to cost you a bunch of money to do it. Like, I heard it's like 800,000 per 10 million. So that's pretty crazy. But it's a way for you to sort of ensure what's going to happen. If you're Jonathan Kuminga and you're being offered, you have a choice between 8 million, you have a choice between that and 22 million, you might want to insure that extra money, because you might not get that money on the backside. But if it's going to cost you, $1 million to do it, that's not super fun. I don't think Keegan is. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, what's a dollar amount too much per year in your estimation for Keegan Murray?
Probably once we get to the 30s.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the 30s is like I'm not giving him max money. I don't even think Chet Holmgren got max money. He got close, but it's not all the way there. Like, I think he is in the Cam Johnson range, not Cam Thomas, Cam Johnson, like the Kyle Kuzma contract. But like earlier Kyle Kuzma contract, like 22, 23, 24, 25 is where I would kind of look. If he gets a 4-year 100, I wouldn't like freak out. But or a 5-year 120, or let's just say they match Jabari's number, 5-year 122. What is a 5-year 122, Brendan? Is that 24 million a year?
Yes, 24.4.
Yeah. So
I think that's where you're headed. I mean, I think you're going to be over that. You're going to pay a California tax, Sacramento tax for sure. So yeah, it's not far off from what I was thinking, which is 27, 28, right around there. And however the per year, whatever that number is, maybe it's 130, and then however it divides.
Yeah, I think there should be a little bit of concern. Number one, salary cap is only going up 7% next season, not 10% like was previously projected. That should be a concern for everybody, because that means there's a decline in BRI, basketball related income, that they're adding in, which I'm not sure how when they sign these massive television deals. Confused, very confused with how that's happening. But I would at least be concerned. And like, look, Keegan Murray's a bright kid. He's got a good family. He's got good people advising him. He's not someone who's got into sort of, the whole mess with people, like trying to, take money from him and all that stuff. Like, we haven't seen any of that with him. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, he did get married. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He got married, like a week, 2 weeks ago, something like that. So, you know what I mean? Like, Keegan is a guy with a head on his shoulders. And so he's going to look at the grand scheme of things and realize that, again, $100 million is too much to walk away from. And you're hoping that you'd make a little bit more, that you'd make 120 or you'd make 130. But at the same time, you're also going to do what's right for you and your family long term, and hope that, you prove that you're worth more than that on your next contract and make more money again, like Harrison Barnes seems to do every time his contract comes up for negotiation.
Just to go through the Jabari Keegan numbers real quick of the comparison again, because I'm shocked by how similar these are. By the way, I'm just learning that apparently Basketball Reference says Kwame Brown is Jabari Smith Jr.'s cousin.
Wow.
This is news to me, if assuming that is accurate. But Jabari points per game, 12.2. Keegan, 12.4. Jabari rebounds per game, 6.7. Keegan, 7. Jabari field goal percentage, 43.8. Keegan, 44.4. Jabari three-point percentage, 35.4. Keegan, 34.3. Damn near identical. Keegan played 4 more minutes.
What about
defensive efficiency?
Well, 4 more minutes per game?
4 more minutes per game for Keegan, 4.2.
Okay. And what about
the
shot blocking?
Blocking would be, we have 0.9 for Keegan compared to 0.7 for Jabari.
Wow, I would have thought that was different.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's a good comp, and like, to be honest, I think it's where the Kings should be heading. That doesn't mean they will be. Like, we have no idea.
What was his defensive rating last year? Because I think is it 116 on his career?
It's just going to take me half a second
for
here.
Keegan.
Yeah.
Yeah, but defensive rating is.
Well,
really
I want to
tough.
look at that. I want to look at that in comparison to Jabari.
Yeah, I mean, you have to remember that sometimes it does depend on the players you're playing around.
Well, that's plus minus for sure. Defensive rating a little bit different though.
I don't have defense. Oh, I do. 118 for Jabari and
116 for Keegan.
There you go.
Through Basketball Reference.
Pretty damn close.
Yeah,
and I think but talk about
Houston
being much better defensive team. So,
well, yeah, but that's where you have to look, and if Keegan is at 116 on a bad defensive team, suspect defensive team, versus a 118 on a good defensive team, that tells you how much better Keegan Murray is defensively. But there is also the fact that Jabari is longer, more athletic,
also
bigger
22.
wingspan, taller, younger. Yeah. There's a lot of variables that you have to look at. So interesting. Let's see. What other news do we have?
What the
So
hell is
long-
going on with Kawhi Leonard? I don't think we've talked about that.
Oh no, that's chaos. Let's finish with Kings though, really quick. Terrence Davis has been waived. That happened this last week. So good luck with Terrence Davis. The Kings actually have an open regular roster spot at this point, I believe. But yeah, tough. He basically got to hang out, use a gym, have insurance, all that stuff all summer long. And then at this point, the Kings are going to do what they're going to do with their roster. I don't know if that means that like the door's been closed to Terrence Davis, but also remember like the end of your roster. A lot of times a new general manager might want to bring in one or two of his own guys. In the same way that Mike Brown just brought Alex Len to New York. Just one of his guys, a veteran, a guy who works
I actually
hard.
did not see that. That's funny.
I
I didn't see that.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be one of those things where you're kind of looking at, he might be on a training camp invite, or where he's making 100,000 or 150 or 200 grand, something might be 500. I don't know. But yeah, Alex is at least in New York right now.
I did think, by the way, I did think we would get to a point where TD was going to be in camp. So I don't know that I was like surprised, but I thought he might be able to compete for a roster spot in camp, and ultimately they would cut him there. But having him cut now, see if he can go and find a home, and if not, maybe there's a situation in Stockton with him. Who knows?
I hope so. He's always been extremely respectful to us, and even like when he showed up late last season, he greeted us in the locker room. Like, he's a good dude. A good dude. He's had some off the court issues, but I think all that stuff is well past. Do we have any other King stuff?
Do you like the jerseys?
Do we have any?
The city edition jerseys? Do you like them?
Honestly,
No,
I didn't see it yet either.
Jerseys
just chucked his hands up in the air. You didn't like them?
They're fine. Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, what is it? Fuchsia in there? Like
Fuchsia?
I don't know.
Is it? I didn't see fuchsia. I thought it was like
Pinkish.
Is it pink?
Yeah.
I looked
pink.
at the funny thing was Domas didn't look all that thrilled to be wearing. Like, it wasn't a great picture of to show Domas in there. Thought maybe a smile or a menacing. He was just kind of like plain faced, I guess. I don't know.
I did find it interesting. Like, I saw the video that the Kings put out, and there was a lot of Domas. Not only Domas putting on the jersey, but Domas and his family, all that stuff.
I actually kind of like it. I think it's I don't know. I haven't seen one in person. I've just been able to see the the render, the pictures and everything like that. But I kind of like it. I like the thing with the beam, so you can see that that's not going anywhere. Brennan's laughing at me. I don't know.
No, I'm looking at it for the first time, and I don't know about this.
Do you see the Domas face?
I do see the Domas face.
Can we call it resting Domas face?
It's very much a Domas face. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just like, here I am.
It looks like the gray ones, just a different color.
But yeah, with just black and purple.
But like same font.
Yeah, it's like a lighter purple.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're looking
Does someone have a picture you can show?
Yeah, I mean, here you go, James. I mean, I don't know if you can.
Horrible picture.
That's not a good one.
I didn't see it as like a true purple.
You said fuchsia.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it plum?
I think that's fair.
What, fuchsia?
I don't know. I kind of see the plum like here. Can we see the coloring well in this?
It's not quite the purple that we have on our YouTube layout.
Which that purple is literally King's purple in the YouTube layout. So a little lighter.
Question mark?
Lighting's weird on my ring light.
I don't know. Okay, so
I mean, look, I know it doesn't really matter. Fans love it though, but I just think I say fans love jerseys and city editions and all the different things that come out of them. I'm curious to I didn't see much fan reaction, so I would imagine this one would be positive. I don't think it's quite the
I
Royale
don't think
stuff
it's
last year, so
yeah,
it's
I'm just kind of like I'm a little ambivalent. I got to be honest. Like about jerseys. Like I don't really care. People have asked me, "Hey, what jerseys are the Kings wearing tonight so I can, wear the right jersey?" And I'm like, "Don't ask me. Like I have no idea."
Kings
Like, don't
jersey
ask.
tracker on Twitter.
Yeah, as opposed to reaching out to me on Twitter, like go ahead and yeah, that thin striper on the side is not purple. That thin striper on the side is like a fuchsia.
Yeah.
I kind of like it though.
All right. Yeah, I'm just like again, I'm ambivalent. I don't care what the jersey, as long as it's not the gold jersey. I don't really care. Yeah, and Brenden, you weren't here for the gold jerseys. The
No,
gold
those are
I
jerseys
know
are
all
so-
about the gold jerseys, though.
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
surprised
I'm
you
slightly
still.
pro gold jersey if it was done correctly, but
I'm surprised that we still see people wear that. I think it's awful. That's by far. I'll take the red over, the red one that they did. I'm not a fan of those really either, but my goodness, the gold were just disgusting. You look like old school McDonald's workers. Like that's how those shirts that they used to wear back in the day.
Yeah,
It was
they
awful.
weren't good at all. They weren't good. Okay, let's get to we'll make this the business of basketball. Look at that. Brennan is there for us. He's
This
there
whole
for us.
episode has been business of basketball. I'm curious as to where we're going here.
true.
Well, no, let's like what exactly is going to happen here with this whole Kawhi Leonard, Steve Ballmer, like
Not a
clearly
damn thing, James.
suspect. You don't think
Kawhi's gonna go
so?
plant some trees for aspiration.
I honestly
really.
don't. I don't think that there's the smoking gun. I don't think they're going to be able to prove anything. I think that there's certainly some silly calculations and accounting that's happened, and probably some circumventing of the cap. And I don't think they're alone in that regard. I think, but they got close to getting caught. And if they get caught, great. They deserve to get caught. I don't think you can prove it, but good luck.
The not alone in that regard, but not to this extent, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. So you're about to. So really, when I say not a damn thing, let's say I look. I don't think any of the draft picks are going to get. I don't think you're going to have that type of proof. Are you going to get a where there's smoke, there's fire, and you probably shouldn't be embarrassing the league with this type of discussion that is going on? Yeah, if you slap $100,000 to $1 million fine to the 10th richest man in America, what is that going to prove?
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know. I just think if I'm guessing, not a damn thing. I think not a damn thing happens.
Just because
and honestly, if you're fining the Clippers organization or Steve Ballmer $5 million, $10 million, that's still in my mind falls under not a damn thing. I just don't think that that's significant at all.
Okay, so the Joe Smith punishment from 1998 was 5 first-round picks, and Joe Smith's contract was voided. You don't think there's any
whole hell of a lot of proof in that regard?
Well, that's because they literally had a court document. Like in Discovery, they found a document that was basically them announcing they're going to circumvent the cap. Yeah. Like between eyewitnesses and paper trails and all that stuff, this is pretty damning. But I don't know. We're going to have to see. Adam Silver is going to be judge, jury, and executioner here. That's the way it goes. Weird.
It's not like by law, right? Adam gets a little bit of wiggle room here. Like I think his wording was very broad strokes. How he's going to go over this,
but by bylaws, they're owned by. Okay, so like Steve Ballmer didn't break the law, but he broke. If they find it this way, well, no. If they can figure it out, like he may have broke the CBA rules,
right?
And
which is the
ownership rules.
So the laws that govern your league.
Well, it's the laws that govern your league. It's not laws that govern America or California
100%.
Or anywhere else.
100%.
Yeah. So he's not going to go to jail for this.
No.
But there is like, I don't know. Shout out to Pablo Torre, first of all, for like some incredible investigatorial journalism here. Like he's dug his heels in deep and he's figured out a million different things. He's got people who have like gone on the record. He's got like the crazy thing is that like the word circumvent the salary cap, they're doing this to circumvent the salary cap, was bandied about at this aspiration place. That's not a term that everyone is using out there unless the three of us are like sitting there talking about ways to get around the salary cap. And even that's like, we don't usually hit that level of basketball, like salary cap chatter, even though we do touch on salary cap quite a bit.
It's not criminal. However, it's absolutely detrimental to the integrity of the league. You've tainted the integrity of the league, and that,
or potentially they tainted the integrity. Yes,
if proven, if you're able to prove, and that's the whole discussion. Is like, if this is being able to be proven, and that's why something like this would carry such a drastic, steep type of punishment. And I'm here for it. I'm very curious to see how this thing plays out. I just don't think you'd be able to prove it.
Which, I mean, but is there an aspect of, I guess, to your point, you do kind of have to prove it, but this integrity of the league thing feels like the biggest thing at play almost. And it's like, I just feel like there's a weird scenario where, to your point, nothing is done to whatever extent that may mean, right? Like you said, money meaning whatever to Ballmer. But like, I don't know, do the fans eventually get over this? Like, and it's just water under the bridge? Or is there like, I'm sure some fans will be like, oh, integrity's screwed, I'm out. But like, how damning is this for the future of the league?
Well, and of course it's Kawhi Leonard. Like, this is just repeated behavior.
Boardman gets paid.
The people around him and his uncle Dennis and all these things. Like, I'm curious. I mean, look, media day is typically dreck, and it's not something I look forward to. Oh, I'm going to be tuned into Clipper Media Day, bro. I cannot.
He's not going to talk. He's not going to say a word.
No,
he might not even go and talk to the media.
How big of a distraction will it be on Media Day? How does Ballmer, how does their front office, how do they try to duck and dodge? I mean, look, this report comes out, Pablo Torre comes out, has his podcast, and to Steve Ballmer's credit, goes on ESPN almost right away in Bristol to sit down with Ramona Shelburne. After that interview, they went, oh yeah, here's more. Oh yeah, you had another 10 minutes.
Right. Twice. They did it twice, 2 times more.
Yes. So look, I don't think he's hiding a smoking gun. I don't think you keep, I just don't.
But it sounds like you think he did it.
I think, look, if you're asking me,
listen to the last one? Go ahead.
If you're asking me, do I think that they're guilty? Of course I do. And I don't think they're the only team in the NBA that is. I think you can look at practically every team to see that there is some shadiness that goes on in the way that they benefit players to draw them to certain organizations and cities. I don't think I think they all have, throughout their history, I think they're all dirty. That being said, how do you circumvent that? How do you protect that? How do you prove it? How do you go out and prove that they've been able to do it? It's a lot akin to college basketball, right? Before you were able to pay players, what were the benefits that were getting thrown around programs, universities, all that kind of stuff? And how do you prove it? And how did they do it? They funneled it through the shoe companies, right? So you give your coaching staffs and your front offices complete deniability. You don't involve them, and that's typically how those things are figured out. But yeah, man, I think this is a lot of smoke. I think there is fire. It might not be to the fire that everyone thinks, that it, as severe as it is, but I remember that holy S moment. We were in Vegas. Kawhi Leonard heads to LA as a free agent, or however I remember that playing out, and there's an earthquake in Vegas during summer league. That same same night that news broke. So
yeah, I just think, like, look,
at the time,
I think that I think there is so much smoke here, and I think the league has a very difficult process in front of them, because voiding the remaining $105 million on Kawhi Leonard's contract is a really good way to get like sued. And I don't know how it's all going to work out in the end, but man, they dive into the nitty gritty of this. Like if you're going to, like as a company, like you can't make payroll and all of a sudden you reach out to the Clippers and the one minority owner that they have who owns less than 1% gives the company $2 million so they can, and then 9 days later they give Kawhi Leonard 1.75, and the day they give 1.75 to Kawhi, they lay off 20% of their workforce because they can't make payroll. Okay, there's so much stuff here going on.
And look, this is the perfect come to Jesus moment for a lot of NBA teams, and I'd argue even teams in other sports, to really have hey, let's go over everything. Let's make sure that there's nothing that we have that can be. I mean, did you hear the Pat Beverly situation with Steve Ballmer and what he was promised after luring Pat Beverly away from the Kings to sign with the Clippers for $10 million less for a different type of role, and Pat Beverly going on record saying that Steve Ballmer promised him like 90 basketball parks to be built within the LA area.
Huh.
Pretty wild. Go listen to that podcast.
And those were supposed to go to Pat Bev's organization,
like in his name, like in the organ. Yeah, they would be able to build
and did he not do it?
Refurbish basketball courts, and I think he said something like less than 10. I think it might have been 2. I'm not sure how many, but yeah, it's. I got to go back and listen to it. It was. I only saw a clip or two, but I wanted to listen to the whole thing, but. Yeah, pretty wild stuff.
That's a lot of.
They got flagged with DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah, that was Alexis Steele. Yeah, and I mean, hey, look, like to Sean's point, and don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying that anything happened nefarious here, but Malik Monk officially signed his contract on like July 6th, the first day the moratorium lifts. Last year, right? He signed as the pizza guy on July 14th.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to pay Malik Monk as the pizza guy when he's not a Sacramento King anymore. But like, that's still like, there are always going to be these questionable things that happen, and you've got to look at them if you're the league, or you don't look at them.
It's, hey, the window has opened at midnight Eastern. And everyone is agreeing to all these deals like in the first minute of free agency. Yeah,
People have quick texting fingers. It happens.
Yeah. You know what they want.
First offer that we got. Sure. We didn't go back and forth. We love that offer.
Wow.
That's right. All right, let's shut this thing down. We've been going for almost an hour and 20 minutes. What do we got for final thoughts? Brenden?
Intro is going to make a little more sense because King's Pulse is coming back on Monday.
Is that a competitor? Are we talking about?
Excited? Well, we can coexist a little bit. Might have one of you two on every once in a while. Yeah, so that's coming back on Sunday after Sunday Night Football. Be going live with my co-host.
Who's that?
Who is that?
It's going to be Chris Watkins.
Hey,
we're over at Station. Really good friends. So excited to bring that back
over
at
the station.
So does that mean they're the Roar one?
That will still be ongoing.
That
will be the one through our work. I know. I agree. That's why I slowed this down before. But we're going one a week on Sundays with potential for another during the week. Mondays. Every Monday. King's Pulse coming up starting next week.
Still don't have that meet and greet.
I am working on
the happy hour.
I am. I'm trying to figure out. How difficult it's been just to get a podcast together with the three of us.
Oh, I have a happy hour.
We'll
idea.
Discuss this later.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have a happy hour idea.
Yeah, I'll talk to you guys after this.
I think again.
Okay.
Just show up someplace.
No. You can't show up someplace and then tell people, and then all of a sudden a bunch of people show up. No, we'll figure it out, Sean. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
All right, Sean, what do you got for final thoughts?
I need another month of off season. Football has started, and it's just really kind of takes you away. Even for me with high school and now 49ers, they'll have their home opener on Sunday against the Cardinals. That'll be interesting. I mean, obviously there's a lot of news with the 49ers. A's are almost done. Giants somehow find themselves back in the race. A lot of local sports going on. It was really cool to see. Just the other day, you've got the home opener for Sac State. You've got a big concert in town. You've got the Republic, selling out that night. You had the Holy Bowl, which had a ton of people out there. I mean, just a big Sac sports weekend last Saturday. The A's were in town. They had the Reds. So, it was kind of cool. It was really neat to see, Devin Carter and Neat Clifford and Steve, who's our guy, Stevens, the two-way player. Isaiah Stevens at Sac State. They came out to support the Hornets in their home opener against Mercer, who I had no idea where that college was located. It's in Pennsylvania. But it's just, I always like seeing that when you see guys out in doing other things and being able to support just Sacramento-esque stuff. And so that was a lot of fun. So curious to see if any Kings players end up at high school. Sac State, they did. Yeah.
Okay.
They rallied from like 8 points down, I think, early. They kind of erased an early little deficit and stomped them. So, yeah. So,
okay.
Hornets are 1-2. Davis is playing well. It's good times.
Davis is playing well. Big shout out
to
Davis
Aggies. Aggies.
My Davis Aggies. Shout out to Cam Scadaboo, who's played extremely well for the New York Giants. I think, was this his first touchdown this weekend?
First touchdown, yeah.
Yeah.
He had one in the preseason, but
he's going to be a touchdown dude at the NFL level. So I think he's got a bright future. He's fun to watch.
He's fun.
He just likes to run over people. Like, even if he doesn't need to, you're like, hey, bro, that you should probably stop running people over. That's not going to bode well for your longevity in the league.
Just like a little bowling ball,
Yeah, he hits people though. He's like moving hit stick.
He was very fun to watch at Rio Linda before he went to Sac State and then ultimately to Arizona State. But
Rio Linda, I didn't know that's where he was. That's
Rio Linda High.
That's Jason Anderson's alma mater, I believe.
I think he's
Rio
center.
Linda.
He's their I think he's Center High School.
Oh, maybe you're right.
Which is their rival, if I'm not mistaken.
We're gonna have to get to the bottom of this now.
People need to know. Although Scadaboo was funny because I think I've mentioned this before. There was a big recruit running back who was committed to Utah, Marcel Brown. He ultimately, gave up on football, but he was highly recruited, big time athlete, went to Utah, and Marcel was like the guy, and Scadaboo kind of followed in his footsteps and gets it to the NFL.
All right, sweet. Outside of that, I don't know. We'll be back next week for sure. We've got media day a week from yesterday. So yesterday is Monday. What is it? The 29th. We have media day. We might actually get to see each other on Monday, right? I think that's the deal. We might have.
By the way, I think what like next week is. I believe.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Isn't the Paul Thomas Anderson movie with DiCaprio that was shot in Sacramento and Stockton and up north
that's finally getting relief.
Everyone is raving about this. I cannot wait to see that movie. I think it would be a good field trip for the Kings Beat podcast. Would Brenden make it through a
I don't know.
midnight movie?
I'm kind of excited for you to tell me about it when I haven't seen it. I like these condescending tone from you. It's kind of the whole thing here.
It's kind of the vibe we've cultivated here, where we making fun of Brenden for not knowing.
One of the things I did when I was in LA
threw shade at the dude.
Oh, I know. One of the things I did in LA when we were down there for the Oasis concert, me and Brendan's coworker Chris went to a midnight movie at Quentin Tarantino's theater in Hollywood and saw Jackie Brown, which is like my favorite Tarantino movie, mainly because I'm a huge Samuel L. Jackson fan, and I think that's his best, one of his best roles, but I think it's his best role of the Tarantino collection, if you will.
Better than Pulp Fiction?
In my mind. It's because Pulp Fiction leaves you wanting more Sam Jackson as Jules Winfield in that movie, and Jackie Brown, his follow-up to Pulp Fiction, was more Sam Jackson in a different role playing Ordell Robbie, and I think you would love it, Brenden. I don't think you've seen it.
Nope.
Yeah.
So he hasn't seen
I
it.
don't think he's seen it either.
Tremendous movie. And
It is.
James froze.
I think
How about
James
that?
is gone, yeah. Good timing. Right
Would
towards
you
the
watch it
end.
if I told you?
Freeze.
Okay.
I would.
He's back.
I don't know how
All
long
right.
it'll take me, but I'll watch it eventually.
No, you got to sit down and watch it all in one sitting.
Well, I just mean like when that sit down will happen. I could do it before media day for sure. Actually, now's the time to do it.
We've been
How
saying
many?
this all summer.
Have you seen all of Tarantino's movies?
Hell no.
How many have you not seen?
My
All
sons
of
have
them?
seen almost every single one.
I've seen Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
Name some more for me.
4
Yes.
rooms.
Where we're
Brown?
at.
No.
No.
Kill Bill? Any of the Kill Bills?
Kill Bill 1, 2.
I think like practically no.
Inglorious Bastards?
Yes.
All of it?
Yes.
Django Unchained?
No.
From Dusk Till Dawn, which is Robert
No,
Rodriguez,
he's in it.
but
Rodriguez
he's in it.
directed. He wrote it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Familiar, but I don't think so.
Man. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
No.
Oh, my
No.
gosh.
Wait, you haven't seen From Dusk Till Dawn? Is that what
Don't
you're
think
saying?
so.
Well, that's not directed by Tarantino.
Well, yes, but as a Selma Hayek fan, which we found out earlier, that's probably
It's required viewing.
it is required viewing. Yes.
I may have seen a scene from the movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
He also
Now that you
acted
mention it.
in
Did it-
Pulling it up
Desperado?
here.
Is that
Pulling it
what
up here
was?
looks familiar.
Yeah. You may have seen a clip.
Just slightly, yeah.
Reservoir Dogs, his first one.
Oh,
I
that's
think
so good.
so with that one, actually.
Can you hear me?
Mr. Pink, Mr. Brown, Mr.
Oh, yeah,
Black,
these aren't gonna
Mr.
work for me,
White.
though. Yeah, no.
That's Reservoir
Tough.
Dogs.
Tough words.
All right.
Probably not.
All right. I've got to get out of here. You guys keep talking Quentin Tarantino movies all night. Thanks for joining us. Make sure to give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the show. Subscribe to the channel, all of that stuff. We'll be back next week. We've got training camp starting, media day, all that stuff. It's going to be a whirlwind. It's all going to be upon us in like less than 2 weeks. So for KCRA 3, Sean Cunningham and Brenden Nunes from the Kings Pulse podcast. I'm James Ham, Kings Insider for ESPN 1320 and the Kings Beat. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you very soon.